After quite a bit of reading, I can finally say that I, for most part, understood how the collab character works, and today I'm going to give you guys my early analysis on them. But first, let's do a quick overview of their roles. Ezio is primarily a DPS with 3 playstyles: Ultimate, Follow-Up, and Poison. He can function both as a main DPS or a sub DPS and mostly focus on single targets. Kassandra has strong supporting capabilities, but can also function as a main DPS with either a follow-up or ultimate playstyle. Alexios is mostly intended as a second assassin for Assassination Team, especially if you didn't pick up both Ezio and Kassandra. Ezio, Kassandra, and Alexios all have a special effect that only activates when another character with the assassination tag is in the team. Some of the tags of these characters are counted as assassination, which boosts the final damage of a skill based on the difference in critical tag between the character and the target. This additionally triggers special effects for the collab character and is a core part of their synergy. All collab characters use a unique ultimate resource instead of Moxie. This is both a pro and a con, because while this makes them immune to anti-Moxie mechanics, it also limits their synergy with many of today's ultimate characters, which often are tied to Moxie. Now, with that quick rundown out of the way, let's take a closer look at Ezio. As the DPS of the new assassination niche, he arguably has the most potential for raw damage. His special weapon mechanic might have looked complicated, but in reality, I've come to realize they're quite similar to Euphoria's. Each branch changes his playstyle by adds new effect to his existing kit. So, to understand him better, we must first look at his base kit. His Moxie is replaced by something called Synchronization, which max out at 8 points according to the footage from the livestream. He will gain this ultimate resource from certain skill effects, but also every time he triggers an assassination with his basic incantations. Beyond that, Ezio has unique stacking buff, Apprentice Assassin. He gains stacks whenever an assassination is triggered by the team, and you can get even more stacks if there is another assassin present. Once a certain count is reached, it converts into Master Assassin, significantly strengthens the assassination effect for him, and a slightly reduced version is also given to other assassin allies. In terms of his specific skills, Ezio's skill 1 is a simple single target attack, but importantly, it's tagged as Assassination. His skill 2 is a targeted taunt and counter. When an ally is attacked, Ezio counters, and this counter is also an assassination. He gains damage reduction while taunting, and if his HP drops to a certain point, he gains Shadow Walk for increased critical damage and remove the taunt. As for his ultimate, it automatically triggers at the start of the turn if he has max synchronization. It's a single target assassination attack with multiple hits. There are 2 different types of attack that deals damage based on enemy's HP, but the game guides you on the optimal damage, so it's mostly cosmetic. Ezio's special system provides him with 3 main weapons and 3 sub weapons. Think of it this way: the main weapon determines what kind of team he'll synergize with, while the sub weapon dedicates what kind of content he'll excel at clearing. This makes him incredibly flexible overall. His first weapon is follow-up focused. With its equipped, his ultimate actually turns into a follow-up attack, and his skill 1 will mark enemy with Assassin's Mark. Whenever another ally actively attacks that marked target, Ezio will then follow up with his skill 1. Looking at the variations, Variation 1 simply gives him excess crit rate to crit damage conversion. Variation 2 is much more interesting, as it allows him to attack the enemy with the lowest health whenever an enemy dies from an attack. This can even chain multiple times if he himself executes an enemy, potentially making him extremely good for wave content with weak enemies. Now, Variation 3 is completely focused on his counter, making the taunt apply to all enemies and increasing the duration of his taunt and counter, which will be good for stages where enemy attacks a lot. This follow-up playstyle has a lot of easy synergies. Of course, Flutterbridge comes to mind, but since Ezio is doing follow-up with his skill 1, which is ranked, throwing Mercuria in with him is also a great option. His second weapon is focused on his ultimate. It makes the ultimate damage scale up as more hits are done. Allies' ultimates now generate Eagle's Guidance, which increase the hit count of his ultimate, though it's unspecified if this is is a permanent or only affects the next ultimate. Variation 1 simply give him synchronization every turn, speeding up his ultimate rotation. Variation 2 boost his ultimate damage when there are only one enemy and give him some synchronization back after his ultimate. This is likely going to be the best variation here since his ultimate is a single target attack. Variation 3 give him ultimate energy whenever an enemy is killed. For stages with Endless Wave but also some elites, this could potentially be very useful, depending on the generation rate compared to Variation 1. One thing I have to mention here is that due to them not using Moxies, synergy with Recoleta will be limited and Moldir is practically impossible. However, Malenia will still be a great pick for simply supplying insane buff for his ultimate, and there is also Hesibus, because Hesibus throws out a lot of ultimate. His third weapon is all about poison. Specifically, all his attack will now apply poison and deal additional Genesis damage based on how many stacks of poison they have, with its damage spiking at certain threshold. The effect of assassination on him will also be changed to directly boost this specific Genesis damage. Variation 1 simply boosts the amount of poison he applies with his attacks. Variation 2 allows him to inflict more poison, specifically when there is only one enemy, and Variation 3 causes the poison to move to other targets when the enemy is defeated. How good his poison style will be is largely going to be determined by how strong his poison and Genesis damage scaling is. If the poison skill is uncapped, 2-stage array, which prevents poison from going down, could be an insane synergy for him. One thing though, the poison variation may or may not have actual synergy with other assassins. Overall, Ezio seems to be an insane single target DPS, but can also deal with wave content thanks to his extra assassination chain from the follow-up style. Compared to Ezio, Kassandra is much more of a support. Just like Ezio, she has a special resource in place of Moxie, but this time it's called Adrenaline, and it's maxed out at 10 for her. A key point here is Adrenaline will not be generated when assassination triggers. Kassandra actually has 4 skills. Beyond her regular skill 1, skill 2, when her Adrenaline reaches a certain threshold, she will generate a skill 3, Sparta Kick, which is a single target attack that also applies states. And there's also skill 4, Rains of Destruction, an attack that hits all enemies. When she reaches max Adrenaline, she will generate her ultimate before resetting it back to 0. Looking at her base skill, her skill 1 is a simple 2-target attack that generates adrenaline, but this attack is not an assassination. Her skill 2 is a single target attack that applies lethal injury to the enemy. This is one of her core mechanic because it causes all attack toward that target to be counted as assassination, and also boosts the effect of assassinations. Kassandra's ultimate is the only attack that is counted as assassination at base, which is a simple single target nuke. Kassandra's skill tree is her special mechanic. It is split into 3 parts: Hunter, which is the buffing focus path, Warrior, the follow-up focus path, and Assassin, the ultimate focus path. She'll be able to light up 5 out of 9 nodes within the skill tree, and the 3rd node of each path is what truly determines her role and playstyle within the team. Each of the first nodes from this path give her a force field which buff the entire team. The effect of this force field can be enhanced passively by a special buff called Guidance of Tree God. She can get this buff whenever the team triggers assassination, and she gets even more of it if there is other assassin present. Depending on if this buff is permanent, having another assassin might make a significant difference. The Hunter tree grants critical damage at node 1 and critical chance at node 3. And this branch is purely focused on lethal injury. With it fully unlocked, she's able to apply lethal injury with all of her attacks and more of it. Her force field will also now cause additional reality damage to be dealt to the enemy when they are attacked with lethal injury on them, like in a similar manner as Flutter Page. I believe this is going to be the primary skill tree to be used when Kassandra is paired with Ezio, as the extra boost to assassination will likely increase Ezio's damage potential significantly. Her Warrior tree grants damage bonus at node 1 and Incantation Might at node 3. This branch is focused on Gush debuff. Her skill 3, skill 4, and ultimate will each apply their own special Gush. The Gush itself causes enemy to take extra Genesis damage on hit, but at node 3, her skill 1 will also trigger a skill 3 on the target for each different type of Gush they have. Considering her skill 1 is a 2-target attack, she could potentially do a lot of follow-ups with the attack. Her Assassin tree grants attack at node 1 and penetration at node 3. This branch is focused on ultimate, and interestingly, node 2 actually clashes with the other 2 skill tree. While it turns her skill 1 and skill 2 into assassinations, it also completely removes her ability to generate skill 3 and skill 4. These skills are especially important for the follow-up playstyle, which is used to apply different gushes. The node 3 greatly increases the amount of ultimate she can cast. First, it causes her to generate adrenaline whenever allies trigger assassination or ultimate, and assassination will happen quite often when she's in the team because of her lethal injury. Another thing is, when her ultimate crits, she will generate a precast ultimate next turn. If she's able to perpetuate this indefinitely, she might be able to have 2 ultimate in hand often, and in that case, a character like Workday, which allows ultimate to not consume action points, could become insane with her. Overall, Kassandra seems to be a very good support for Ezio, but she can also be played as a main DPS if you choose that path. Her ability to cause all allies attack to benefit from assassination, and her force field that covers a wide range of stats, which, if the numbers are decent, can easily make her a tier 0 universal support for many teams. Now, let's talk about Alexios. His kit is a lot simpler. While he also uses adrenaline like Kassandra, it's capped at 5 and only generates his ultimate. Neither of his skill 1 or skill 2 are assassination, and both of his skills can generate adrenaline directly, though skill 2 does need to hit a crit for that to happen. In a regular rotation, you're most likely not going to see him using his skill 1 and skill 2 much. This is because he's mostly an ultimate-centric character. He can generate adrenaline whenever allies trigger an assassination. If there's another assassin in the team, he even has the chance to automatically trigger an ultimate when that happens. His ultimate is an AoE attack that's marked as assassination. The ultimate also grants him Blood of Isu, which buffs his future ultimates, though again, it's not clear if this is a stacking buff or is just buff the next ultimate. Overall, he is shaping up to be an insane sub-DPS option for both of the assassins, someone who can just put there and spam ultimate. This is especially true with Kassandra though, thanks to her lethal injury. When it comes to potential teams, I think the best composition will definitely involve the follow-up team, using Ezio's follow-up path and Kassandra's follow-up path as well. Ezio may not be using that many actions since he really just needs to mark the enemy with his skill 1, and that leaves all the AP Kassandra needs to apply Gush and trigger her own follow-ups. This team would probably be the strongest, as it can use either Flutter Page or Mercury as buffer and Fatutu as the healer. Ezio's ultimate path can probably be best run with Kassandra's lethal injury set for maximum assassination boost, and also Alexios since he can potentially spam a lot of ultimates. Speaking of spamming ultimates, we cannot ignore Hisbith, because depending on how much those extra ultimate cast by ally actually help him, she could unironically become one of the best support for him. The same idea also applies to Euphoric 10, who both provide great amount of damage bonus and does a lot of ultimates, which is what his thunder attack are now counted as. Kassandra also have her own ultimate path, right? But honestly, I don't know how well she'll synergize with Ezio in this path. It's going to depend on just how much she actually spam those ultimates and also how much she loses out on the buffing side of things. Likely, you will just play her as a regular ultimate carry alongside Alexios and other buffers. The Poison Pass in Ezio's kit is pretty much meant to be played with other poison characters. He's definitely going to synergize well with Tuesday since she can apply a lot of poison, enable poison to crit, boost Genesis damage, and lock poison from going down with her ultimate. I think though, Jessica with her second Euphoria that's coming on Anniversary will also work great for this since she can passively generate and trigger poison a lot, followed by Sotheby as the healer. But a lot of that will still depend on if he will end up actually doing that much more damage with poison in Genesis compared to if he just does reality damage. And that's pretty much all I've got from the character kits we can see from the official website. Everything I've said so far is still speculation based on the numberless kit they gave us, so anything could change at the moment's notice. I can't really give should you pull advice on this character yet, since, well, I don't think you should skip collab character anyway. I don't know how well they actually plays in the meta until we get the numbers, so we'll have to wait and see when they do come out. Either way, what do you guys think about their kits? Do they look interesting to you? How many pulls do you guys have saved anyway? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, this has been SteamBunX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.